right? It's the gray one.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Mercer Lake in West Windsor, New Jersey for the second day of the 2016 Intercollegiate Rowing Association Regatta. As we ready for the first heat of the morning, we'd ask you to pause. Gentlemen, remove your hats as we honor America with our national anthem.
Princeton University, Stanford University, University of Wisconsin. Attention. Go.
Four,
and Wisconsin lane 5. And right now it appears Stanford has the early lead, but maybe not by much over Wisconsin, and Princeton's right here as well. So we're coming up just shy at 200 meters, and you'll see with the camera angle right now that indeed Stanford is out by a few seats over Wisconsin, and then Princeton just about a length back on Stanford. And we're turning it over to Bob and Fred with the chase boat to pick up the race about 300, 400 meters in.
Good morning, and it's racing here with the varsity lightweight women, and Stanford has jumped out to a half a length lead over Wisconsin at about 400 meters into this first race. Wisconsin has a full length on Princeton. So very quickly, these crews are separating themselves. This is 2 to go through to the final, if I have my progression right. And Stanford continues to march. They are the number 1 seed. They are marching out on these other 2 crews. And we're just going to do an audio check here, make sure that it's coming through. Okay, good. So Stanford has got open water now and rowing very comfortably at 35 strokes a minute. Wisconsin about a length up on the Tigers, also at 35. Very smooth. 7:50 into the race. The Cardinal in their red Hudson, I believe it is. Striding out now, really pushing away from Wisconsin and Princeton. Good solid blade work and good swing into the bow. They continue to make it really easy here. It's clear to us in the launch why they're the number 1 seed. And they could even stretch it out a little bit more and relax. 35 and a half. Maybe they're taking a little bit of an... I think they started to take a 10 right before the 1,000. And they've got a solid 2/3 of a length of open water. And we'll take a look now at Wisconsin. We'll focus our camera on the Badgers. I'll pull back a little bit to give the fans at home watching on the internet, for those of you who are cheering for the Badgers, a look at them. And their mission here this morning is just to get no worse than second. So it's okay if Stanford gets out. Now, the Tigers just don't seem to have the same base speed, and they're falling back open water behind the Badgers. They're working hard, but it's going to be difficult for them to make up this margin in 750 meters to challenge Wisconsin for that second qualifying spot for the final. Wisconsin 33. So they're a little bit lower than Stanford. I keep expecting Stanford to drop the rating down. Well, then maybe they're at 34 now. Yeah, 33 and a half, 34. So really just protecting their lead. And they are really spread out. Boy, Stanford, whatever they're doing out there in California, have got some outstanding athletes and are well prepared for this weekend. Wisconsin now has taken the rating up a bit, and they're at 34 and a half, so just looks a little zippier over there. Not quite as much time on the slide, but they are a length and a quarter open ahead of Princeton. So Princeton just doesn't seem to have the same pop that the other 2 crews have, and as a result are trailing pretty significantly here. So we're going to follow down almost to the 250 here. Well, maybe we'll get some shots of the Tigers as they come into our view here from the reporting launch, and give you a look at the Princeton gals. So we'll get ready to hand it over to Rick Clothier, I believe, is on duty this morning.
And in the last 500 meters, we've got a little bit of a parade going on out here with Stanford, multiple lengths of open water out in front of Wisconsin. Wisconsin holding open water yet over Princeton. In this event, 2 crews will advance directly to the final, and the 3rd crew will move into the reps later this afternoon. So it looks like right now, if service is held, that we'd be looking for Stanford and Wisconsin to advance directly. Here's Stanford coming into the line as I speak. They've just kept it steady, moving the boat very nicely here, all by themselves in their bright red or their cardinal red shell, and they're over the line now. And here comes Wisconsin, about 3 or 4 lengths of open water separating each crew. Wisconsin will be the 2nd crew to advance directly to the final, and they're over the line now. And in comes Princeton. Princeton looking, of course, to do some business in the reps later this afternoon. And they're just swinging in here, probably rolling somewhere in the mid-20s, just letting it glide along like they're out for an easy row. And Princeton across the line in 3rd place right now. Stanford and Wisconsin directly now to the grand final. Princeton will row in the reps later this afternoon.
Right, so here we are again at the start, waiting with these 4 crews. MIT, lane 2. Boston University, lane 3. Radcliffe, lane 4. And Georgetown, lane 5. Appears they are lined up, ready to go. And we are extremely close to the 8:38 send-off for this race. Crews are continuing to just touch the boat lightly with an oar to keep that point going right down the lane. And all the crews just sitting there nice and quietly now. We go from incredible quietness to a lot of noise in just a few seconds, and we're getting real close for that to happen.
Massachusetts Institute of Technology. Boston University.
Poll is taking place as we speak.
Georgetown University.
And here we go. They are underway. Once again, from the camera angle, we are on the lane 1 and 2 side. So the crew that's furthest away on the left, as you're looking at it, is Georgetown. Radcliffe with the white and black blades. Boston University looking extremely powerful right now on their start. And then MIT, nearest to us as they come into view just about 30 seconds into the race. And as the camera starts to swing, you're going to get a sense of who's leading early. And right now it looks like lane 3 is a little bit ahead of Radcliffe. MIT just right there in contact, and Georgetown right there with MIT. Moving past 250 meters now. Appears BU might be inching out just a little bit more on Radcliffe. Our angle's a little bit difficult from here. But fortunately, we've got that chase boat coming in to take you the rest of the way down the course with Fred and Bob.
fight with Radcliffe in lane 2 and 3. Then it's back a full length already to MIT and another 3/4 of a length back to Georgetown. So at the 500-meter mark, it is the second-seeded Boston crew leading Radcliffe by about a half a length. And it's open water back to the engineers. And MIT gamely hanging in there. But a splash of open behind those two leaders. And Georgetown trailing already. Well, let's take a look here at ratings and see. These two are obviously going to go hard for about 1,000 meters and then stride out. Boston University 35.5. Radcliffe 36. 35.5, 36. So both about comparable on the ratings. And Boston University trying to increase that margin. They have, I think, taken another seat from Radcliffe. And as they do that, it opens up a little more water between Radcliffe and MIT. Coming up to the 750, we're getting a little bit of a cheer from the guys on the shore here. They're cheering for Boston University. They must be Boston guys. And Radcliffe's now come back into Boston University and taken that seat back. So the Radcliffe bow is only on the 3 seat of the Boston University hull. So these two are making it quite interesting and are really pushing hard. You can see the body motion, the real intensity of the Boston University coxswain, her shoulders going back and forth, and she's really trying to get the most out of her crew. And she's trying to get another seat or so. It looks like she's gaining on it in this all-important third 500. Trying to step on the legs and push the boat by. And so they're separating these two. It's a real race between these two. And then MIT is comfortably holding off Georgetown in the 3rd and 4th spot. Georgetown, unfortunately, really struggling to stay up with these two leaders. 12:50 gone, 7:50 to go. Boy, what a great race. Radcliffe coming back again, I think. They're not going to let Boston have bragging rights for the final here, that they beat them. And I think Radcliffe's launched a real attack here and have brought it within 2 seats now. MIT, or let's say Boston University's up to 36. So yeah, the Radcliffe crew has put the gas on, stepped on the pedal a bit here, and it's a great race. I'm not sure of the results if these two, I'm sure they faced each other this season, being in Boston, both of them in Boston. And Radcliffe is just about to draw a level, and they seem to have the momentum, and Boston can't hold them off. So this is going to be down to the wire right now. And Boston, I think, give Boston still the edge by about a half a seat. Very exciting. So Boston in lane 3, Radcliffe in black on the spectator shore side as they come into view for the spectators. Not much to separate them. I think Radcliffe might now have a slight lead. So getting ready to hand it over to Rick. Here you go. Great race in progress.
And in the last 500, Radcliffe and BU are just knocking each other out here as we get out to about 40 to go. Radcliffe a little lower, a little more efficient. BU's been just wailing away at it, but they're side by side. Radcliffe got to pull right up level to them at 500 to go, and I think they've held that. The other two crews are well behind, and it is 2 to advance. So both of these crews should advance to the grand final directly. BU holding tough. Radcliffe's decided to take it on up a little bit more, and I think they've drawn just slightly ahead with maybe 20-25 to go here. I would call it Radcliffe and BU very close at this point. Here we go. Last few strokes. Radcliffe has clearly taken the lead, but maybe a half a length. They've run it on up. They were a little bit understroking. Now they're overstroking a bit. They want that first place, and it will be Radcliffe by nearly a length at the line here. Radcliffe over the line now, and Boston University now. 3/4 of a length back. MIT in third here, coming to the line. Now, and Georgetown just getting into the picture here. Georgetown crossing the line, just a stroke or two here. And now, Radcliffe and BU directly to the grand final. Georgetown, MIT, and Princeton will row in the reps later this afternoon.
Over Villanova, and here in lane 1, UMass Amherst looks right there to be right in it. So as they go by just shy of 250 meters, yes, we do have Stanford. And then UMass, Fordham, and Villanova all quite close. MIT, lane 5, about a length back. We're on 8-minute centers between races, which is making it a little bit more challenging for that chase boat to get back to follow these races during 300, 400 meters down to about 1,700 meters. They're right now just a little bit between 500, about 750. So they're going to pick this race up pretty shortly. As the crews roll off into the horizon, it looks like the margins have stayed pretty similar. I think UMass has come up a little bit more, but once again, a little tough from this perspective. They have now passed 500 meters, and like I said, it's looking like the margins are staying the same. I'm liking what I've seen from UMass. I think they're doing a real nice job on that near lane, and it looks like the Bob and Fred are getting into position to pick this race up quite shortly. Once again, look for Stanford and UMass right now.
All right, an exciting race taking place in this varsity women's lightweight 4. Over in lane 4, you got Stanford leading the pack here. And then over to lane 1, which is UMass. Stanford has already got open water at 750 in. UMass running second. Then over to lane 3, it's going to be Villanova in third. Fordham in fourth, and then back to lane 5, MIT. So really spread out here in the first 750 meters. There's probably 7 or 8 lengths separating these crews. But Stanford is getting the best of the field, and they're in lane 4 on the spectator shore. So they'll be coming down first as we approach the 1,000-meter mark. They're very controlled. So their depth in their program, obviously they're ranked number 1 in the 8, so this is players. Nice rowing crew here next to the camera in lane 1, MIT. Coached by the legendary James Deese. And they are doing a nice job here in running in second. So again, if the progression is the same as the previous event, it's 2 to go through, and these 2 will go directly into the final. So Villanova being challenged now by Fordham, and then it falls back quite a ways to MIT. Fordham trying to cut into that Villanova lead of third place. But we'll let the launch slip back just a little bit here and try and pick up the pack. Stanford's all by themselves out there, so you're probably getting a good look at UMass. as they're closest to the boat. And let's get a rating check on them. 32, 31 and a half, 32. With 750 meters to go, it's Stanford and UMass comfortably in qualifying slots. Villanova not out of striking distance, and I think Fordham is giving a good run there to try and to catch up to Villanova. So with this, those margins, we're going to hand it over to the tower a little bit early this time.
As we get into that last 500 meters, Stanford, who has led consistently from the start, is still our leader. UMass, I believe, is holding second. On this angle, it's a little hard for me to tell, but I'm calling it Stanford out in front. Our understanding is, from what we're reading here, is that one crew will advance directly to the final, and the others will go to the reps. So right now, that would be Stanford. It remains to be seen because we've still got maybe 350 to 400 meters left in this race, but Stanford looks very strong at this point. Stanford still holding, very much under control. UMass, a bit of a challenge on the far side there, but Stanford's out in front. Probably some open water. Still Stanford. All the other crews appear to be just keeping their stride, staying down at base rate, maybe kind of getting ready for this afternoon's reps. Stanford's still your leader. UMass making a bit of a challenge. Stanford's still just kind of keeping it at pace. They can see where they are, looking back on the field. Perfect conditions down here at the finish. UMass still kind of pushing it on that far side, but Stanford is your leader. Still Stanford, and they're just holding pace. And we've clarified that it is one crew to advance, and that crew to advance will be the Stanford Cardinal here, as they're just a few strokes from the finish line with about a length of open water on the next crew. Stanford over the line now. UMass in second place now, and very close here for this third slot. Now. Fordham and Villanova will be rowing in the race this afternoon. And MIT coming in here.
Will go directly to the final, but to the rep. But right now, that far lane, we've got University of Tulsa over there in lane 6. The Badgers of Wisconsin appear to be leading right now in lane 5. Lane 4 is Radcliffe. Right here, close, Boston University actually right there in lane 1. Right there with Wisconsin. Great race. Lane 3, Princeton. And lane 2, the Georgetown Hoyas as they go by us. So it's 2:50 in. And once again, because of our early morning sound issues, we didn't get to really applaud the fact that we've got some of the best lightweight women in the country here starting off this Saturday morning at Camden County Park. And right now the racing's been great, and it's a great way to start our Saturday morning before the men begin.
Okay, picking them up here at the 500-meter mark. Wisconsin's leading this second heat of varsity women lightweight fours. And they are about 5 or 6 seats up on Boston University over here in lane 1. Then it goes over to lane 6. I think Tulsa's hanging right in there in 3rd position. And then 4th, it looks like, would be Radcliffe. They're all within a length and a half of one another. And then it falls dramatically back to Princeton and Georgetown. So Princeton... Maybe Princeton has a length on Georgetown, but the race out front now. This is 1 to qualify. We were clarified by the authorities. We got our hands slapped for the last couple of races. We were saying 2, but it was really 1. And so the stakes are much higher then. So Wisconsin still here in the lead, and they look pretty comfortable on the inside there in lane. I think they're in lane 2. That's lane 5. Sorry, I've gotten reversed. Lane 2 is out here closer to the reporting mode. But Boston University giving it a good fight here, just a length down. And then it switches over to Tulsa and Radcliffe, all within striking distance. The only crews that are really significantly trailing are Princeton and Georgetown. So, coming up to the 1,000, Wisconsin is steady as she goes, doing a nice job over in lane 5. The Red Badger Blades rating, which is good. Their power is strong, their rating, they're smooth, and they've reached the halfway mark. So margin, apparently Wisconsin had a good start, and Boston has been chasing them ever since. So Boston 35.5, so they're 2 beats higher than Wisconsin. And just very efficient. Nice rowing in that Wisconsin boat. Dusty, the coach, I haven't met yet, but I'm looking for her on the banks of the trailer park, as it were. And we'll get some insight from her before the finals. But they're doing a nice job over there and just holding off Boston University. But what's happened in the meantime is Radcliffe has shaken Tulsa and has come up. So Radcliffe is really challenging Boston University now. See if they have enough momentum to get, with 750 meters to go, can they really challenge Wisconsin? I think that's going to be a tall order, but you never know. Very smart rowing by Wisconsin. And we will probably turn this over a little bit early if the tower is good with that. We'll get our cue from our onboard communication, but it looks like Radcliffe is going to take over that second spot from Boston University. It's very difficult to tell, but I think they're challenging on it. So we will turn it over to Rick and the camera in the tower.
And with just a little more than 500 meters to go, Wisconsin continues to lead this Heat 2 of women's lightweight 4 widths. It is 1 to qualify, so Wisco's got that right firmly in their grasp right now. Behind them, with a real battle going on, Radcliffe and Boston University. We've seen that before this morning in the 8th, side by side, and they are once again. For the longest time, it's been BU, but I'm not so darn sure Radcliffe hasn't gotten them by a little bit. It's incredibly close, and yet they're both sort of battling for the right to go on to the reps this afternoon, unless in that battle it can drive them forward and they can get on to Wisconsin. So far, it's been all Wisco in this race. With 1 to qualify, they're still out in front. They haven't altered their rate. They've been spinning along at 34.35 the whole way and running that boat pretty nicely. Still Wisco. Radcliffe and BU more almost side by side. BU may have come back up into that second slot. We're inside 500 meters now, maybe 350, 400 meters to go here. With Wisconsin controlling things from the front, a little challenge. BU's gone ahead and taken that rate up, and they're trying to get up in here. They passed Radcliffe once again to establish themselves in second place. It's all Wisco. Here comes Radcliffe back up into it, though, alongside BU. Looks like they might pass through them in the last few strokes here. Wisco by open water, 1 to qualify. It'll be Wisco right now. And here comes Radcliffe. They have gotten through BU, and now Radcliffe. And here's BU, Boston University now. We have Tulsa coming in here in fourth place. Now, Princeton still on the course, as well as Georgetown. So we got Princeton crossing the line now. Georgetown is already getting ready for the afternoon over there, I think. Here we go, Princeton, fifth place. All right, Georgetown across the line now.
Double sculls.
An oar. Clearly the oar size, the length, the weight, totally different. They're approaching 500 meters at this point. The margin looks to be similar. Again, I think the progression on this, first and second will go to Sunday's grand final. And the rest will go to a rep later on this morning. Turning it over to Bob and Fred in the reporting boat.
And the exciting women's lightweight double sculls is underway. We're picking them up just after the 500. And it looks like Wisconsin's out to a comfortable lead here in lane 4. Lane 2 would be in second. That would be Tulsa. And Tulsa's kicking it along. Then it flips over to lane 5. It looks like, let's see here, lightweights. Heat number 1 is the Tigers. Looks like the Tigers over there. And then trailing would be Oklahoma in lane 3. So very comfortable margin here for Wisconsin, and it's really great to see this new event. I guess it was new last year in the regatta. Gives these squads another opportunity to field a crew. I think Wisconsin's running around 30 strokes a minute, 29 and 30. And then they are about a length and a quarter back of Wisconsin as we approach the halfway mark. Wisconsin stroke taking a look over, just making sure that Tulsa's not cutting into their lead. But these are going to be really spread out here by the time we get to the 1500, because there's a difference in speed in these hulls. It looks like Wisconsin's taking a push right here. I can see them really pick it up. They're in the leader, and they're taking an insurance 10. It didn't really take the rating up as much. They just sat up a little taller, pushing a little harder with the legs, and they're stretching it out now. They've got a length and a half open water over Tulsa. So again, we got clarification that this will be 2 to go through in this progression. So Tulsa is in good shape to go right through with Wisconsin. Princeton is about 2 lengths open behind Tulsa, and then you've got another 2 or 3 lengths back to Georgetown. I checked that. It's Oklahoma City.
And we'll pick up this race with Wisconsin leading. This is the Heat 1 of the women's lightweight double. Wisconsin well out in front. Tulsa in second place with some open water over Princeton, who has nearly an equal amount of open water over Oklahoma City. This is 2 crews to advance directly to the grand final. So 2 of these crews will go forward, a little less cutthroat than the 4s when we only had 1 coming out of each heat. Two to qualify. So far, those 2 are Wisconsin and Tulsa. Kevin Harris there at Tulsa doing a great job with those women's crews. Still Wisconsin, still open water. Tulsa second, Princeton third, and Oklahoma City trailing. And they're getting spread out. This isn't quite a parade, but it's beginning to look like that, with lots of room between each one. And, of course, everyone will row again. Some will row twice. They'll row in the reps and row in the grand, so this isn't the last race. And sometimes when you find yourself well back, it's easy to begin to think about that next race. Wisconsin has led from the start. Still holding, still moving, actually. Still pulling a bit out on Tulsa. Tulsa holding their own there in second place. Just keeping it long, keeping it strong. Under control here. Tulsa holding second place comfortably. Wisconsin still the leader. Getting strung out quite a lot here now. Again, the order: Wisconsin, Tulsa, Princeton, and Oklahoma City. Maybe 250 to go. Those buoys will change color shortly, and they'll be bringing it home. Wisconsin well clear of the field. No need to worry here. They're just keeping it long. In fact, they've dropped their rate some. Tulsa the same. They can just keep it stretched out, knowing they're going forward to the grand final. There's Wisconsin. Tulsa a few more strokes, and their morning's work will be done. They'll be looking for that grand final. Here's Tulsa at the line now. Princeton coming in third place. Now, and Oklahoma City just coming into the picture here. They've got a ways to go. They'll row again this afternoon, as will Princeton. And Tulsa coming into the finish. Right now.
Place finisher last year. Here they come by just shy of 200 meters. We've got Stanford just barely out in front of lane 2, Boston University, and Radcliffe right there in lane 3. And in lane 5, the Loyola Greyhounds. So they've passed 250 meters. The reporting boat is in position. As I said before, we're on 8 minutes center, so it's making it really challenging for the reporting boat to get back here. So you may be missing a little bit of the start. We apologize for that. Boston University appears to be doing quite nicely in that lane too.
Second heat of this lightweight women's doubles, Boston University's got the rating up, as has, looks like lane 4 is going to be Stanford. Those two are having a good duel here for the first spot. Then very closely behind is lane 3, would be Radcliffe, with Loyola struggling quite a bit already, about 4 or 5 lengths of open water behind. But right now, it's lane 4, Stanford about a half a length up on Boston University. And Boston University turning over a little bit here. I think they're setting a nice pace. They're 35. A little bit more aggressive. Oh, we had a little bit of a digger in lane 3. I think that's Radcliffe. But they've recovered and restarted, so they haven't lost too much ground. Stanford in lane 4 leading, but Boston really pressing hard. Some good rhythm, good swing here in this Boston University crew here at 7:50 into the race. And they're still at 34, which is a good pace for a double scull, women's lightweight double scull. And I think they've passed Stanford now in lane 4. At least even, if not passed. I think they're up by a seat, if you will, or a deck, as they charge down a little bit. And I think just the fact that they're turning over a little higher, a little bit cleaner, a little bit more send, they've gotten the advantage. They're 31, Stanford is 31 to Boston's 34, 35. So they just produced a little bit more hull speed. Loyola slipping back over there in lane 5. So halfway through is Boston University, the Terriers, leading Stanford by 2/3 of a length, with Radcliffe not far behind, about a half a length to a length open behind Stanford, and they have an opportunity to come up and challenge for that second spot. But I'd say from the other heat to this heat, Boston University rowing probably the highest of any of the doubles we've seen, and they seem comfortable doing that. So I think that's probably going to put them in a good position. So over to the tower.
And we pick it up here at about just inside the 750, with Boston University leading, rowing a little higher than Stanford, and they've gone right on through Stanford. This is nowhere near the parade that the previous heat was, because third place Radcliffe is they're in it. They've not lost complete contact, maybe a half a length of open water behind Stanford. BU leading, punching along at 34 strokes a minute, a little bit higher than the other two crews, nonetheless still moving. So it's BU, first place, Stanford, second place, Radcliffe, third place, and Loyola of Maryland trailing. Two crews from this heat will advance directly to the grand final of the women's lightweight double. At this point, we're talking about BU and Stanford, but Radcliffe clearly could put themselves into the picture with just a big push here in the latter part of this third 500. Continues to be Boston University leading, and Radcliffe has pulled up a little bit closer to Stanford. Loyola of Maryland is trailing by quite a good bit of margin, but those three crews, let's say those two crews, Stanford in second place and Radcliffe in third, have still got a race going. BU has continued to pull ahead, so they look pretty comfortable if they just kind of hold service here and move on through. 2 crews to advance. They're probably 350, 300 to go here. It continues to be BU, continues to be Stanford in the other qualifying slot, with Radcliffe still in contact. They're not touching them, but they could, with a great sprint, pull through and grab one of these direct qualifying slots. We're already anticipating the men's heavyweight 8 semifinals, which are coming up, and I think you're going to be treated to some incredible speed in those races. Lightweight women's double, Heat 2. The leader continues to be Boston University, followed by Stanford, followed by Radcliffe, with Loyola of Maryland trailing. And just a few strokes left, and the leaders here, Boston University, have actually taken the rate down a little bit, and they're just striding it home. They'll be over the line here in about 10 more strokes. Boston University crossing the line right now. Stanford now. Those are your 2 qualifiers. And here comes Radcliffe. They're sprinting up a little bit. Very spirited finish here right now. And we still have Loyola out on the course.
Boston University, Columbia University, Princeton University, Yale University, Brown University.
And if other crews, knowing it's coming, can match it. Here we go. Semifinal A, men's varsity 8 is underway. And here they come into view. Princeton looking really lively. Yale right there in the middle, quite powerful. Once again, Brown right there. But here we go. We got BU, lane 1. Columbia, lane 2. Princeton, lane 3. And Yale just by a few seats. Boy, it's... You guys look at the camera. You guys decide who's in 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th, because it is extremely close, and we're going to turn it over to Fred and Bob in the reporting boat.
And the first semifinal of the heavyweight men is underway, and the highly regarded Yale crew has done what they've done all season, jumped out to a 2 to 4 seed advantage, and hanging right with them is Bruno and the Tigers, as not unexpected. But Yale here at 500 meters in has got at least a half a length on the Tigers. They seem to be the only ones being able to go right at almost the same speed as Yale. And then Boston University and Brown are tied for 3rd. Then Pennsylvania would be 5th and Columbia 6th, but only a seat separating those two. The Bulldogs now with 5 or 6 seat on the Tigers. Yesterday they did it at about 34 strokes a minute, which gives you an indication of their horsepower. Today I think they're a little bit higher. We got really nice conditions. 37 for Yale, as they almost have a length on the Tigers. But coming up on the inside is Brown to challenge Princeton for 2nd. The Tigers taking a big push here. They sent Brown working at it. Tigers at 37.5. So that the field is spreading out according to the seedings. Brown, Princeton, and Yale are up, but BU is still overlapping with the third place crews, Princeton and Brown. Yale has open water now, open water, and I think the rest of the field is just going to be watching to try and 241 to the 1,000, unofficially, of course, but the Tigers haven't been able to shake Brown, and they are, just maybe a seat up on Brown. But Yale, just a toast of this field, the entire field, and just making it look easy. Open water back now to Boston University in 4th, Columbia in 5th, and Penn now in 6th. Columbia about a couple seats up on Penn, and BU a couple seats up on Columbia. 12:50 into the race, Yale just cranking on it, just having fun. How much fun can we have leading by open water? A lot. Nate Goodman, the stroke, setting a nice pace, going to the under 23 camp this summer. For the U.S. I think they have a number of Brits in that boat also going to the under 23 camp, 2 or 3 of them. Princeton now coming back on Yale, closing that open water and getting the best of Brown in the process. Princeton at 38 has decided to go a little bit early and get a jump on Brown. 500 meters to go. It's Yale by just a length over Princeton. Kind of a repeat of what happened at the Eastern Sprints. And Brown comfortably in 3rd. So we'll turn it over to the tower with those 3 crews in the lead.
All right, we've got it at 500 to go. Yale out in front. Just less than a length back to Princeton. Princeton holding a little bit on Brown. Brown and Yale both have separated themselves a bit from the other 3 crews. 3 to qualify. Right now, with about 400 meters left, that would be Yale, Princeton, and Brown. The other 3 will row in the second level final. So with these are important lanes that we're racing for here. I'm sure those crews, Pennsylvania, Columbia, and BU, where they finish is important to them because they're racing for the right lane in that petite finale. So far, Yale, Princeton, Brown. Yale's been out in front all the way. Princeton's come up and challenged them a bit. Brown's pretty safe in that 3rd slot for now. It remains to be seen if someone's going to spin it up and make it interesting here. It's Yale by about a length. Princeton in the middle there. Brown coming strong. They're going to close it up here. Yale at the line now. Princeton now half a length back to Brown now. Close here between BU and Pennsylvania. It'll be Pennsylvania. Then Boston University. It's a deck. Columbia trailing. Wow. Lots of power. There's Columbia. Lots of power. Number 1 seeded crew in the regatta, Yale University, holding serve there. So it will be Yale. It will be Princeton. It will be Brown in your grand finale.
Top 3 will go to the grand final, and all the rest, the remainders, will go to the petite. Lane 1, we've got Northeastern. They rode a very nice repechage yesterday to make this semifinal. Lane 2, Harvard. Lane 3, Washington. Washington has won this event 5 times in a row. That's unprecedented. Never done from 2001 to 2015. 5 years. So someone's trying to stop that, and Washington's trying to continue it. Lane 4 is California. Lane 5, Navy, also rode a really great heat yesterday to make this semifinal. And then finally, Lane 6, Stanford, also rode a very good race yesterday in the repechage. High stakes racing here. Top 3 to the grand. All the rest of the petite. They are lined up. Once again, you can hear pin drop, and then it's going to get extremely loud. They are polling as we speak.
California, warning. Late to start. Please acknowledge.
You've got first place and second place from the Pac-12 championships right next to each other. Cal, first place Pac-12 champion, and then Washington, second place. Stanford was third.
Naval Academy. Stanford University. Attention.
And they are underway. Really precise blade work from Cal. Great use of the legs there from Cal as well. Washington, also wonderful precision. All the crews just look great at this point, coming up to just shy of 200, and it is going to be very difficult at this point to say really what's going on. We've got Cal out, Navy a deck, and then as you can see, this is going to be fun. So they're going through 250. About 40 seconds into the race, and we're going to turn it over to Bob and Fred in the reporting boat to take this race all the way home.
The Golden Bears of California have got a couple 3 seats on Washington in this second semi, and then it's throw a blanket over the bows. Northeastern, Harvard, Navy. The only crew trailing slightly is Stanford. They'll sort themselves out here in a moment, but California's had the best of Washington all season. They beat them in the dual race, aptly named the Shock Cup, and they beat them at the Pac-12s, and they're trailing California now by about 2/3 of a length. So Cal really putting on some aggressive show there. Harvard is running in third, 2 seats up on Northeastern, and Northeastern is I'd say maybe let's give Navy. I'd say Navy's running in third, Northeastern in fourth, but just a seat or so separating them. And Stanford's come back on Navy. They're only 3 seats down on Navy, so very tightly packed for the 4, 5, and 6. 3, 4, 5, 6. California showing some real speed here. I have a clock running. We'll see what their time is versus Yale for the 1,000, unofficially, of course. But California linked up on the Huskies. The Huskies now rowing 38 strokes a minute. Harvard's taking a nice push now to get clear third position, a clear third. So here we are at the 1,000, and Cal 241, same as Yale. So that could be an interesting development in the final. I think Cal and Yale running about the same speed for the first 1,000 meters anyway. Harvard now definitely has pulled away from Northeastern and Navy. Harvard saving a little bit there in the first 1,000 meters. Looks composed and collected, even though they're a link behind Washington, and Washington's a link behind Cal. Let's see if Cal's at 30. Let's see here. 37 for Cal. And we're through this 1250, 750 to go. So it's the top 3 here to the final. Harvard can't really get anything on Washington, and Northeastern's going to have to pull a miracle here, or Navy, to come back on Harvard at this point. 37 for Harvard. I think Washington's come back on Cal just a little bit. With 500 meters to go, we're going to flip it over to the tower with the crews pretty fairly well sorted out.
And we're picking up here just short of the 500-meter mark. California out in front. Open water or slight overlap, Washington. Washington made a shift there about 20 strokes before the 500-meter mark. And from my angle, I thought they pulled up a little bit into Cal. Harvard comfortably holding on to third, but it remains to be seen whether the Naval Academy or Northeastern can put on a show here and take that third slot. This is 3 to qualify, 3 to advance directly to the grand final. So that third slot is a great value between Harvard, Navy, and Northeastern. Stanford trailing. But Stanford made a push back up into things, so maybe we'll see in the last 25 a good show from the Cardinal. Still California, comfortably. I wouldn't be surprised if they just stride out a little bit here. Washington went for it very early there and did make some inroads. Here we go, the last few strokes. California. Washington definitely has overlap now. Harvard sitting pretty comfortably in third. Little overlap on the outside from Northeastern. It's Cal. It's Washington. It's a length of open water. Now Cal, now Washington. A length of open water back to Harvard. Now Northeastern. Now Navy. Now. And Stanford open water back. 6th place now. So we've got that final all set up for tomorrow. It will be Yale, Princeton, Brown, California, Washington, and Harvard.
Welcome back to the start. This is semifinal 3 of the men's varsity 8. The top 3 in this semifinal will advance to the 3rd level final. All the rest will advance to the 4th level final tomorrow. Lane 1, we have Hobart. Lane 2, Oregon State. Lane 3, Syracuse. Lane 4, FIT from Florida. 5 is Drexel, and 6, Santa Clara University. They are pulling the crews right now. I expect more of the same. It is fun to watch these crews because they all really want to race. And even though they come by us 200 meters in, at very high rates over 40, they maintain those high rates in the high 30s all the way down the course, as you most likely are witnessing. Very impressive. They are through the pole. Here we go. So the crews are all coming into view. Syracuse with those bright orange singlets, but it looks to be that FIT might be out just a little bit right now. So here again, we've got Hobart near. Lane 2, Oregon State, Syracuse in 3, and it could be that, we'll see right now, but again, this is a race. Once again, all these crews are just stuck together. Everybody's going for it. It's now or never. They're through 250. No real change. Probably striding out from their high strokes, but as I said, what we saw yesterday was these crews are keeping it between 37 and 40 all the way down the course. Very impressive, the athleticism of these athletes. And we're going to turn it over to Bob and Fred just shy of 500.
Race number 9 is underway, and FIT and Syracuse have a slight advantage over the field. Oregon State, Santa Clara, and let's see who's on the inside there. Drexel. The only crew trailing slightly is Hobart. Hobart's back about half a length. And now they're starting to separate. Oregon State, Syracuse, the two orange-topped crews are striding out with FIT, and then Drexel is going with them, but about a half a length behind. Very tightly packed now in race number 9 here, third semi for the CD final. And Oregon State now taking a press. You could hear the coxswain give them the command, and they've taken the rating up. They're at 37.5, and now they're leading this pack by a couple of seats. They continue to press. A nice move by Oregon State, 38.5. Let's see if they shift down again after they get a little bit of a margin, some breathing room. But very tightly then after that, FIT is just a little bit behind Syracuse. No, I give Syracuse, I'm sorry, FIT is up on Syracuse by a seat. To Santa Clara, and a couple halfway. It's Oregon State, still I think at that 38. They're really aggressively charging down the course here. Let's see what they are. 38, yep. FIT is starting to show now clear second position. They pulled out on Syracuse and Drexel. They're about a half a length, maybe a third a length up on those two crews. But FIT rode courageously yesterday, and they're not afraid to row high either. So they are at 12:50 into the race, and I bet you they're 38 as well. And they are 37, so they're just a beat below Oregon State, and they're coming up on Oregon State. Let's see if Oregon State took a courageous move there in the second 500 to jump out on the pack, but let's see if they've got the horsepower to finish it. So we'll rank the crews here. Oregon State 2 or 3 seats up on FIT. FIT up on Drexel and Syracuse, who seem to be very close to the level. And then it's over on the inside of Santa Clara for in that 5th position, and in 6th position is Hobart. Over to the finish.
We've got it here, 500 meters to go. Oregon State continues to lead. They've been rowing high all the way, and it appears that FIT and Syracuse and Drexel were moving there as we got through the 500-meter mark. This could be a real dandy struggle here. Now, don't kid yourself that these races run important because this is CD. These races mean a lot to these crews, and they all want to be in that 3rd level final. Try to get out of that 4th level final. So far, it's still Oregon State, but boy, they're coming up on them. FIT made a move there just before the 500, pulled up close. Syracuse has been understroking all the way. We'll see if they can get up into this thing, too. This could be really, really close. Drexel was making a move, too. They're all jacking the rate up and coming forward now. Inside 250, almost 200 meters to go, and this is a real boat race. So you folks at the finish line are going to be treated, I think, to an exceptionally close finish. Oregon State still in the lead. FIT coming up, Syracuse coming up. Here comes Drexel on the inside. Very close race. Drexel coming up on Syracuse hard here. 1, 2, 3, 4 within, half a length. Hobart on the far side. Okay, now I'm going to let the officials sort that one out. But you down here at the finish line, you could say, I think Oregon State held it, got the first place. Syracuse, but that race between Syracuse and Drexel was incredibly close. We'll let the officials sort that out. We'll get the results up as quickly as we can for you.
We're back at the start for race 10. This is the final semifinal of the men's varsity 8. Just like the preceding race, which sounded incredibly close. First, second, and third will advance to the third level final. Fourth, fifth, and sixth will advance fourth level final. In the near lane, when they come into view, will be Temple University. Third place at this year's Dadvale. Lane 2 will be Wisconsin. Lane 3, the Big Green from Dartmouth. Lane 4, Cornell. Lane 5, George Washington. And in lane 6, furthest from our view, Oklahoma City University. Those of you on shore with the program, I really hope you'll take the time to read the article about Gavin White, a legendary coach, and has coached at Temple University and just announced his retirement. It's a wonderful article about a wonderful human being. So please make sure you open those programs, go to the last page, and find out about one amazing individual and what he's given to the sport of rowing and many other people, the lives he's touched. So we're real close now to this race. We'll see what's going to happen. They are now polling. If the other three races are any indication, we're going to see people just laying it down, giving all they can, every single stroke to get to these finals. And here we go. Cornell might have something to prove here in lane 4. They were 5th place at the Eastern Sprints this year. And they are surrounded by 3 crews that were 11th place, 12th place, and 14th at the Sprints. So we'll see if they want to prove something, but I would suspect everybody else in this same semifinal is thinking the exact same thing. So here we are coming by just shy, about 200 meters in, and right now it looks like Cornell just by a little bit over lane 2 BU, but as you can see, we've got crews just packed in tight at 250. And my guess will again be that they're just going to keep the rating high, do everything they can to get their boats, keep pushing their boats out in front. And we're going to turn it over again to Bob and Fred, just shy of 500 meters as the crews start to leave our vantage point.
And it looks like Cornell has got the best now of this last semifinal heat, the CD semifinal. And they have got about 4 or 5 seats up on Wisconsin. Dartmouth is running in 3rd, George Washington 4. Dartmouth's about 2 or 3 seats down on Wisco. George Washington in 4th, about half a length up on Temple, maybe a little bit more than that now, and then over to the far side, Oklahoma in 6th, but not far behind Temple. So Cornell, the big red, sitting up tall and really trying to make a point here after yesterday's disappointing row. They want to make sure that they finish the regatta strong. And on the outside, George Washington trying to draw up with Dartmouth now, taking a push. So Dartmouth and Wisconsin running in 3rd, tied for 3rd. Well, I think Dartmouth has a seat on Wisco, but GW pouring on the coal there just before the 1,000, so trying to take a move here. Big Green taking a move now. They've pulled out a couple seats to really clearly own 2nd, so they're ahead of Wisco and George Washington. Trying to be a little more patient. The Dartmouth crew really has put down some great strokes at the Eastern Sprints and here. in the first 1,000 and then can't finish the job. But today, I think they're a little bit more measured in their first 750, and they're leading George Washington. Now, George Washington's done a nice job of coming up and challenging Dartmouth, and Wisconsin starting to slip back. So those top three crews, Dartmouth, being led by Cornell the leader, open water ahead of Dartmouth, but Dartmouth doing a nice job holding off GW, and Wisconsin slipping back, Temple coming up a little bit to overlap with Wisconsin, and then on the far side, Oklahoma doing their best. 12:50, 7:50 to go. Can Dartmouth move up on the Big Red? That's the question here. But these top three will go into the to the B final or C final, and Dartmouth doing a nice job now as they stride up and try and reel in Cornell a little bit. Dartmouth at 37. That's their bread and butter pace. They got a little ahead of themselves yesterday, rowing in the high 30s. 500 meters to go, and we'll turn it over to the tower and the adoring crowd. Let's give them a big cheer when they get down there.
And with 500 meters to go, Cornell continues to lead, but Dartmouth took a 10 there just at the 500. Got some overlap, and so we're going to make it a little interesting here in this last 500 meters. It's Cornell, Dartmouth, I believe George Washington, then Wisconsin. George Washington rowing a very efficient race over there, doing a nice job, keeping it long. Very comfortable look to their rowing. Cornell out in front. Cornell's had a great season. Find themselves here racing for this third level final at the IRA. I'm sure they're disappointed, but they're getting it put behind them with a great effort here this morning. Cornell, Dartmouth, and I believe GW. Let's see if Wisconsin, Temple, or any of the others can make a run at that third place. This is 3 to advance into the third level final. It's Cornell and Dartmouth well out in front. GW coming up here. Pretty solid in third place. Cornell, 3/4 of a length to a full length out on Dartmouth. GW's come up on Dartmouth to kind of make it interesting here. Last few strokes, first 3 to advance to the third level final. It's Cornell now. Little open water to Dartmouth now, and here's GW now. Nice job, George Washington. Fourth place will be Wisconsin. Crossing the line now, Temple, just touching him at the line. 1 length back. And Oklahoma City now. So it will be Cornell, Dartmouth, and George Washington moving forward to the third level final. Wisconsin, Temple, and Oklahoma City in the fourth level final.
Back up here at the start, race 11. This is the first semifinal for the second varsity men's 8. This again, similar progression. 1, 2, 3 go to the grand final. 4, 5, 6 will go to the petite. This has kind of been the California-Washington show for the past, since 1997. Washington actually has won this event 11 times. Cal has won it 6 in those years. Princeton snuck in there in 98, and Harvard won it in 06. But we got California and Washington right there again in 3-4, right next to each other. Making this challenging for those two, we got Cornell, the Big Red Bears, lane 1. We got the Yale Bulldogs in lane 2. As I mentioned, lane 3 are those California Golden Bears. Lane 4, the Washington Huskies. Not to be denied, lane 5, Boston Terriers. And finally, lane 6, Pennsylvania Quakers. All I know is we've got some vicious mascots in this race.
University of California, University of Washington.
They are polling the crews as we speak. There's the attention. And as you can see from that platform camera at the start, we are underway. I'm really impressed with how crews have really cleaned up their blade work. Not that it was off yesterday, but boy, it is so much better. We have got the red flags are up. We've got the siren going, and as you can see, this race has just been stopped. And something must have happened. I'm gonna make a guess and say it was coming from lane 2, since you can see these 5 crews all pretty much level lanes 1, 3, 4, 5, and 6, whereas Yale is a little bit further back. So something must have happened. So again, you can probably tell or see, once again, folks on shore, certainly coaches, and I hope coaches, and maybe hopefully I've got it right as well, and athletes who row, is you've got those red buoys that designate a breakage zone, stoppage zone, and if something does occur in that first 100 meters, which is typically marked with different colors, if you stop, something happens in that area, and you come to a stop, as it appears Yale did, the referees are going to stop the whole race. And then they're going to find out what actually happened. Now, if the reason that Yale stopped, whether there was breakage, whether there was an overhead crab, something that is justifiable, they will not receive a warning. If the referees, in his or her opinion, feel that it's not justifiable, then they would receive a warning. So as you can see, we're backing the crews back up to the line, and we'll get this race going in no time again. Just give you a little bit of a story about each one of these crews. Cornell looks like they were 8th in this year's Eastern Sprints. 5th was first at the ESPN, since this is their usual. Mike and Mike show with 2 pretty. Mike Callahan of Washington. Boston in lane 5 was 3rd at the Eastern Sprints, and Pennsylvania was 12th. So as I said before, the stakes are high. You want to be in that top 3 to go to the grand final. And as I'm sure you're seeing, we don't get to see it so much because we're at 200 meters down, but you're seeing it at the finish line and through the whole race. People are really committing to getting their boats out in front to get that top 1st, 2nd, and 3rd spot. I do not think, or I believe, putting it in the affirmative, that our 2nd Varsity 8 men's crews will be doing exactly what their brethren were doing and the 1st Varsity 8s, just going for it. Got everybody back on the starting platform, and we're going to give it a second shot. If you're enjoying the good weather, there's a few sacrificial lambs out here that chose to wear their rain suits just to keep the rain away. I'm sure I'm not the only sacrificial lamb that's a little bit overheating in my rain gear, but I felt that that was important for me to do and sacrifice myself for the greater good. And I'm sure there's a few. We're getting ready there. Long pause between attention and go, which the referee is apt to do, so people don't create a rhythm that the athletes can kind of communicate back to their other teammates. And once again, here we go. And if I'm kind of lost for words, because you 3, 4 straight across, and we got lanes 1, 5, and 4 just barreling down with it as well. Because of that delay, it could be that our reporting boat picks them up sooner, right around 300 meters. So we're turning it over to Bob and Fred.
a barn burner of a semi in this JV heavy race. Looks like California may have poked their bow out to get a little bit of a margin over Washington and Yale. Those three are the pack, leading the pack. Cornell would be in fourth, Boston 5, and Pennsylvania 6, but just about a half a length separating those last. Definitely California would start for delay of the regatta on Washington. I think the J close margin. Yale, Boston is challenge Yale for third. And they just want to make sure they can get third here. So they're trying to get the best of Yale and maybe catch Yale sleeping here. Washington now getting ahead of Cal by about a seat. And Cal is throwing some strokes in. And let's see, they're 35 and a half, 36, but Washington's starting to pull away from Cal. And Boston coming up maybe has 3 seats on Yale, so the kids from Boston exerting their muscle, and Washington really going for it. Oh wow, let's see if Washington is as high as I think they are. No, they're 38 and a half, 39. But it looks comfortable. Let me see, I'll take another rating check. Wow, it is high. And Boston really charging. So Washington 37 and a half, 38, but Boston University's coming up on Cal. So Boston's bow is now on the 7 seat of Cal. And Yale slipped back a little bit, or just Boston has taken off. So a really nice run in the third 500 by Boston University. And, oh, I hate to give up this race here, but the tower wants it. So Washington has it. Cal second, BU third. Ooh, that's a good race.
Washington in the lead. California trying to force the issue. They've come up to match their rating, I believe, with Boston University pulling into that third place slot that Yale occupied most of the first 1,000 meters. 3 crews will advance into the grand final from this, so they all want to be first, second, or third if they can. Washington, California, Boston University at this point. Still Washington. California has raised their rate. They've tried to match. Washington overstroked them there through the middle part of that race. And they're holding. Cal would like to come up. They've been looking at each other all the way down the course. This has got to be at least the 3rd time they've raced one another this year. So far, it's Washington. It's been Cal in the previous races. Washington holding serve here. But here comes Cal, too. Washington holding. First 3 into the grand final. And it looks like it is going to be. BU's coming up hard on the inside here to challenge California. Washington almost a length up. At the line, it's Washington, it's BU, it's California. 1, 2, 3. Yale in 4, Cornell 5, Pennsylvania just crossing the line now in 6th. So, Washington, Boston University, and California go to the grand final. Yale, Cornell, and Pennsylvania into the petite finale.
So they're at 500 meters now, and I can see the reporting boat just shy of 1,000 meters. And if you can tell me who's in front, have at it, because we have no idea from this vantage point, but it looks pretty much straight across in terms of those 6 crews. And we hope that you will enjoy watching the rest of this race, men's 2nd varsity 8 semifinal, once they pick it up with the reporting boat. Again, 1, 2, and 3 from that race will go to the grand final. 4, 5, and 6 will go to the petite, and those will be tomorrow.
Harvard and Princeton are out front. We are closely followed by Brown.
5, 4.
So in the second heat, we're picking them up just before the 1,000. Princeton looks like they've got a couple of seats on Harvard. Harvard has about half a length or more on Brown. Then it's over to Wisconsin, maybe a seat down on Brown, and then almost a link back to Columbia and Northeastern. So, if not one or two, they are leading Harvard here by about 3 seats, and they're turning over pretty well. 37.5 for the Tigers. Then it looks like Wisconsin now is getting a seat or two on Brown. So Wisconsin in lane 2, fighting hard. And the Tigers pushing away. Have got a couple more seats now. So stroke on bow of Harvard with 7:50 to go. So Princeton definitely asserting themselves, and almost a full length over Harvard. And Wisconsin doing a nice job chipping away at Harvard. But Brown is coming now. I see Brown making a move. They've definitely taken the rating up to 38, so they know that it's now or never to make that A final. And they are coming up to challenge Wisconsin and Harvard. 500 meters to go. They got to put the gas on. But they've got a little ways to go to catch third place Wisconsin. And we'll probably get to follow this a little bit further in.
Just bring the race on down.
And it's Harvard still with 2 seats over Wisco. Can Brown mount the charge? That's the question. Come on, Bruno. Can they come up? Northeastern's come up a little bit on the tail of Bruno, but I think Wisconsin's got this in hand, although you still got a good 40 strokes to go. Princeton looks strong in front, and Wisconsin only a seat down on Harvard. Brown is doing everything they can to get into it, but it may be a little too late. 40 for Brown, and over to the tower.
2, 1.
And into the last 500, 250 left, I should say. Princeton, Harvard, Brown, Wisconsin. Who's going to be third? That first second is pretty well established and has been throughout this race, with Princeton pulling out early. Wisconsin still in it. Harvard in second. Princeton, Harvard. Is it going to be Brown or Wisco? Wisco looks like they've got a good shot at it on the outside there. Princeton now. Harvard now slow, closely followed by Wisconsin. Then Brown. Northeastern. And Columbia on the far side. Now. So, an exciting race there for second and third. Results would move Princeton, Harvard, and Wisconsin. Wisconsin got second. So, and was coming up hard at the end for first. Princeton clearly had it, but I believe Wisconsin nipped Harvard for the second place finish. So those 3 crews, Princeton, Wisconsin, Harvard, will move forward to the grand final for second varsity eights. Brown, Northeastern, and Columbia will move into the petite finale. An announcement, Canisius will have a certified tape practitioner on site for any of those interested in a demonstration. Feel free to visit their tent adjacent to the results board. All right, we have some results here from races rode earlier this morning. In semifinal 1 of the men's varsity 8s, order of finish: first place Yale, second place Princeton, third place Brown, fourth place Pennsylvania, fifth place Boston University, and sixth place Columbia. In the second men's varsity 8 semifinal, first place California, second place Washington, third place Harvard, fourth place Northeastern, fifth place Navy, sixth place Stanford. In the semifinal 3 men's varsity 8, for places in the third final and fourth final. First place, Oregon State. Second place, FIT. Third place, Syracuse. Fourth place, Drexel. Fifth place, Santa Clara. And sixth place, Hobart.
Yeah, but it's loading. Oh, it's trying to load.
Minutes.
First place, fifth place. Continuing on with our results. In men's second varsity 8s, semifinal 1, first place, Washington. Second place, Boston University. Third place, California. Fourth place, Yale. Fifth place, Cornell. And sixth place, Pennsylvania. Second semifinal, men's second varsity 8s. The race just rode. First place, Princeton. Second place, Harvard. Third place, Wisconsin. Fourth place, Brown. Fifth place, Northeastern. And sixth place, Columbia.
There was a slight break, so there was actually a 16-minute center between that last 2V race, and now we are beginning the first semifinal of the men's third varsity 8s. As Wes Ng aptly pointed out yesterday, these races are again very hotly contested. There's a lot of parity between schools. Boats are most likely a mixture of upper class and first-year students. So once again, I don't think anyone's been disappointed from the very first race we saw today with the women's lightweights to up until currently. That these have been great races. So lane 1, we've got Dartmouth, the big green. Lane 2, we've got Wisconsin. They were 6th place in the this year's EARC. Lane 3 is Washington. They were first at the Pac-12 championship and 6 seconds ahead of California. Lane 5, not to miss lane 4, which is Harvard. They were actually second at the EARC this year. Once again, California's in 5. They may be trying to prove something to Washington. And finally, Navy in lane 6. They are pulling the crews now. These guys have had a long sit at the line. They came in on the 8-minute center, so they've been sitting a long time. See who can handle that weight. And here we go. Once again, I mean, these are third varsity crews, and whether you know anything about rowing or not, this is great precision with their blades. It should come as no surprise that the idea is to get those 8 blades in at the exact same time to impulse, to apply pressure and power to that oar to propel the boat forward at the same time. And these are third varsity crews, and they are doing an incredibly good job with that. So coming through, we've got lanes 3 and 4, Washington and Harvard out to the early lead. The Badgers are doing just that, badgering the leaders. And there's not much skin separating the other 4th, 5th, and 6th place crews. So we're going to turn it over to the reporting boat for the rest of the race down.
300 meters into the first semifinal of the men's 3B, we have Harvard and Washington level. It's about a deck or so back to Wisconsin in 3rd place. Wisconsin has about a half a length on California and 3/4 of a length on Dartmouth and Navy. So crossing 500, it's still a very tight race between Harvard and Washington. Nothing to choose there yet. Wisconsin hanging on. They're about, I would say, a third of a length behind now. And coming up into 4th place, a clear 4th place now is California. They're 1/2 length behind Wisconsin. So then a third of a length back to Dartmouth and another 1/4 of a length back to Navy. So Harvard and Washington fighting it out stroke for stroke. It may now be Washington by a foot or 2 at 700 meters. It's Harvard in 2nd, just barely behind. It's now Wisconsin still in 3rd at 750, about 3/4 of a length behind Washington. But they are being pressed hard now by California. California has drawn to within 1/3 of a length of Wisconsin. A little burst by Harvard there has brought them level again. So again, it's Harvard and Washington at the front of the field. 3/4 of a length ahead of Wisconsin. California still moving up.
California now 2 seats behind Wisconsin. That has them about a length ahead of Dartmouth and another quarter of a length back to Navy. As we cross the 1,000, it's now a deck length lead for Harvard. They've surged to the lead. Harvard with 1 deck, rowing 38 over Washington, rowing 37 and a half. Nearly a length back now, it is Wisconsin, still with the slimmest of margins over California. Dartmouth still hanging around. They're within 3/4 of a length now of Wisconsin, and about a length ahead of the Naval Academy. So that margin of 1 deck has been holding steady for about 250 meters as Harvard, at 7:50 to go, continues to lead Washington. 38 at 37 and a half. Lead over California has gone down to 1 seat. California, pressing for that 3rd transfer position into the grand final, has drawn level with Wisconsin with about 600 meters to go. So it's still Harvard by a deck over Washington. Washington now not quite a length over Wisconsin and California, who are still very, very close. Then open water back to Dartmouth and then Navy. So last 500. It's Harvard leading Washington. Over to the tower.
And we've got Harvard by a deck. Harvard by a deck over Washington, Wisconsin, and California dueling it out for that last qualifier. Wisconsin holding maybe 2 seats as we dropped off that perpendicular picture. It's going to be close. It's going to be a dandy race. For those of you down here at the finish line, I think you're going to have a real treat. Still Harvard, but holding on. Washington, who's going to get it up here and move that rate up and challenge? We got 4 crews challenging for 3 slots. Washington, Harvard, Wisco, and Cal, all going for those final 3 in the 3rd varsity 8. Only 3 will get into that grand final, and it's tight here. Tight finish. Here we go. Last few strokes. Who's got a shift left here? Harvard still holding. Washington coming up. Wisconsin coming up. Who's going to get that 3rd qualifier? Looks to be California very strong here. Harvard barely holding on. Washington may have it. It's Harvard, it's Washington, it's back and forth. It's going to be Harvard right at the line. 1 deck back to Washington. Cal, less or a deck or more over Wisco. So it goes Harvard, Washington, Cal, Wisco. Navy will be good for 5th here. And Dartmouth on the far side in 6th. So advancing to the grand final, Harvard, Washington, and California. Wisconsin, Navy, and Dartmouth in the petite finale.
2 minutes.
Two minutes. We are back at the start in the 2nd and final semifinal of the men's 3rd varsity 8. We've actually got almost a exact rematch of this year's Eastern Sprints finals in the middle 4 lanes, lanes 2, 3, 4, and 5. But let's start with lane 1. That's Yale, 7th place this year at the Sprints. Lane 2 is Brown, third at the Eastern Sprints. Lane 3 is Princeton, first at this year's Eastern Sprints. Lane 4, Boston University, fifth at this year's Eastern Sprints. Lane 5 is Cornell, they were fourth at the Sprints. And then finally Lane 6, Washington, and they were right in it too, they were ninth. So here we go. Race is underway. Then to the right, Blades. Brown appears to have a very good start as well right here in lane 2. And the Bulldogs. So 200 meters in. Triangle down and 3, 4, 5 right there as well. And lanes 1 and 6 right with each other and pressuring the leaders. They are past 250 meters now. And my guess is again that these crews are going to maintain that high rate, not up in the 40s, but yesterday while watching most of the racing it was 37 to 40 consistently for all the men's 8s. Everybody going right after it. So the reporting boat is sitting there ready to pick them up at 500 meters, and we are going to turn it over to Bob and Fred. It's all.
We are picking up the second semifinal of the third varsity 8 at 500 meters. It's a nice start in the middle of the field from Boston University, Princeton, and Brown. Those three within a couple of feet of one another in the three leading positions. Then it's about a half a length back to Cornell and Yale, and another third of a length back to George Washington. So it's Boston University and Princeton now with one deck over Brown. Another quarter of a length back to Cornell, who's taken fourth by about half a length over Yale. So approaching 750 meters. Those three in the center still continue to lead, although Cornell is creeping back into it, and Yale is not that far behind. It is still Princeton and Boston University locked together, just even all the way down the course so far. The lead over Brown is now just about half a length, and in a few strokes it looks like Cornell will be drawing level with Brown. They're about a seat and a half back now. It's like Princeton may have jumped their cadence up a little bit, trying to break that deadlock at the front of the field. They've now got a seat over Boston University, but Princeton's at 37, and that's actually matching BU's stroke rate at this point. As they cross the 1,000, it is Princeton by 2 seats over Boston University. The Boston University coxswain is just about on the bow ball of Brown, and then another seat back to Cornell. From Cornell, it's 3/4 of a length to Yale, and then a quarter of a length back to George Washington. So the Princeton lead begins to grow. The Princeton lead is now 4 seats over BU. And Brown, making a little move, is starting to close in on BU. Cornell still challenging Brown, so this fight for the 3 qualifying positions after 1,250 meters is turning into a really interesting cat and mouse game at the front of the field here. It is now Princeton by 1/2 a length over Boston University. The Brown bow ball has moved up to the 7th seat of the BU boat, and Cornell still sitting 1 seat behind Brown, where they have been for several hundred meters. We've got Princeton continuing to ease away with 600 meters to go. They've now got 2/3 of a length on BU, but Brown and Cornell mounting a charge. Brown now half a length from BU. Cornell still 1 or 2 seats behind Brown. Those three have pulled away. There's another length back to Yale. 4 crews, only 3 lanes available.
We've got a hot one here. We've got Princeton in control, but not seriously in control, with BU, Brown, and Cornell all contending for 2 slots. So this is a dynamite race. Princeton went on a real tear through the 1,000, got through BU, and has pushed on out to about 3/4 of a length. The other 3, it's you pick them. It's whichever 2 of those 3 crews can spin that rate up and bring it home will get those last 2 qualifying slots for this 3rd level grand final. Princeton continues to lead, and you can pick them out of the next 3. They're very, very close, and they're all up in a full-out sprint. Here we go. Let's take a look at it. Princeton out in front. BU hanging in there. Brown hanging in there. They look like the 3. Here we go. At the finish. Princeton. Brown. Boston University. Cornell made a gallant effort in the 3rd 500, but couldn't quite close it up. Cornell's 4th. Yale 5th. And George Washington in 6th. So moving forward, it's Princeton, Brown, and BU going to the grand final for 3rd varsity 8s. Cornell, Yale, and George Washington in that order to the petite finale.
You say 2 minutes? Yeah.
2 minutes.
We're back at the start for the next 5 races, I believe, will be the men's varsity 4. And again, we're in our first semifinal. These first 2 semifinals will be similar to the 8s. Top 3 go to the grand, 4, 5, and 6 go to the petite. And in our first semifinal of the morning, we have lane 1, Pennsylvania. Lane 2, Harvard. Lane 3, California. I'm sorry, lane 3, yes, lane 3, California. Lane 4, Wisconsin. Lane 5, Princeton. And lane 6, Georgetown. There are 28 boats in this event. It is a extremely popular event this year. Although Washington is not in this particular semifinal, they have won this race 6 years in a row, 2010 to 2015. So somebody is trying to crack that record, and perhaps one of these 6 crews from this first semifinal are the ones that are going to do that. We got the 2-minute to start call. It feels like about 2 minutes ago. The crews are sitting there ready. We have one crew with their hands up. I'm not sure hands are recognized anymore. All aligned. Here we go with the pole. As you all have probably seen, the crews and the coxswains have really handled themselves well all day long in terms of getting themselves on the platform, aligning themselves down their lane and holding their positions, which from a coach's vantage point and from a referee's vantage point is absolute heaven on earth. We are underway. We are underway. Looks like a very powerful start from California coming in view right now in that lane 3. It's possible they have the early lead. Princeton looks quite strong as well. Wisconsin might be just back just a little bit. Harvard perhaps just back a little bit on Cal, but as the crews come up to this nice straight buoy line, we're going to see what's going on. And 3, 5, 6 right on it. And then lanes 2 and 4, Harvard and Wisconsin dead level, just a few seats back, and then Princeton certainly right in it, right here in this near lane. They have passed that 250, and we're going to let Bob the rest of the way down.
Varsity 4 is at about 400 meters. We've had a nice start from Harvard, California, Princeton, and that's Georgetown over on the far side. Those four are just about level. I'd say within a foot or two of one another. Then it's about 3/4 of a length back to Wisconsin and another half a length back to Pennsylvania. But we've got four bows all jousting with one another. Harvard, Cal, Princeton, and Georgetown. Wisconsin now just about a length back. But with 3 to qualify, we've got 4 crews really going after it up near the front of the field. It looks like Georgetown has taken a little bit of a burst. Georgetown is nosed in front just by a seat or two over the other 3 who are still essentially level. Wisconsin still hanging around. They're now over, and Princeton now it's another half a length back to Wisconsin and a little open water back to Pennsylvania. So Cal now with a deck length lead over both Harvard and Georgetown. Princeton half a length back and Wisconsin pressing. Wisconsin has drawn back to within 2 seats of the Princeton crew. So crossing the 1,000. It is California with a deck over Harvard. Harvard with a seat or 2 over Georgetown. Georgetown with half a length over Wisconsin now. And Wisconsin with 1 seat over Pennsylvania. Georgetown hasn't stopped them, hanging on hard to 3rd place, and they're only a seat behind Harvard, as California now extends its lead to nearly half a length over Harvard. 1 seat back to Georgetown, who has just taken a burst there. They've gotten their rate up, but so has Princeton. Princeton now pulling over Harvard and Georgetown, who are once again level with Wisconsin, 1/3 of a length back with 750 meters to go. Now Princeton continues to surge. They've gotten past Georgetown. They are just about level with Harvard as Georgetown feels that early pace. It's California over Harvard, barely ahead of Princeton. So,
Others. This is again one of these where you want to be to get to that grand final. California still holding tough in there. Wisconsin, not sure they've made it all the way up in there or not yet. California, Harvard, Georgetown, and it may be Georgetown, Harvard. It's all up in there. This is going to be a close finish here.
they have MIT and Cornell further back to Marietta. So the University of Washington Washington rowing 36 and a half, but looking much lower than that. They're very, very nicely controlled here. It's Holy Cross now with one seat over MIT. MIT with a length over Cornell, then another half a length back to Boston University, and a few seats behind Boston University, Marietta. So Washington's lead gradually growing. It's now about a third of a length of open water over Holy Cross. Holy Cross now definitely has established itself into second place. They're about 3/4 of a length ahead of MIT. And it's Cornell beginning to close on MIT. That's now down to about 2/3 of a length from MIT back to Cornell. Half a length back from Cornell, we've got Boston University, Marietta College, one length back of that. Holy Cross, Cornell, that's down to about 3 seats. Boston University beginning to creep back. They are about a half a length behind Cornell, and then a length back to Marietta. So we have Washington looking very comfortable with about a length and 3/4 lead over Holy Cross. Holy Cross still fighting hard, maintaining second place. They've been rowing 35, which I think is a little bit lower than they showed us yesterday. MIT still hanging on to third. They've actually pulled away a little bit again from Cornell, and they're moving on Holy Cross. MIT now within a half a length of Holy Cross, and Boston University moving up at 12:50. They're a half a length behind MIT. BU moving and moving quickly. They've drawn level and gone past Cornell, and they're moving very quickly up on MIT and Holy Cross. Boston University now within 2 seats of MIT. Really looking nice and solid around that turn at the finish, sending the boat well. MIT puts on a burst. They are drawing level with Holy Cross. Cornell starting to come. So Washington, unperturbed, 3 lengths ahead of the field, has a nice seat to watch these 4 crews fight it out for 2 slots in the final. It is now Holy Cross and MIT about a half a length ahead of Boston University and Cornell as BU begins to move again. This could be a barn burner.
Well, Washington's in control. There's no question about that out there in first place. But then we've got all of the other crews, with the exception of Marietta, contending for those last 2 slots. As we broke it off there, Holy Cross was holding second and MIT third, and I believe they still are, but it's become incredibly close as both University and our last 400 meters here. As they crank it up here for the finish, we've contending for second and third. Cross is held. All the way out. Always bringing it home here. We will let the judge.
The course.
Drexel University, Temple University, Dartmouth University,
So we're back at the start
University,
for the fourth
Washington College,
semifinal for the men's varsity four. Once again, first, second, and third will join the preceding race in the third level final. Fourth, fifth, and sixth will join the preceding fourth, fifth, and sixth place crews in the fourth level final. So lane one, the Drexel Dragons, not quite in view with the camera. Lane two, coming into view right now, Temple, the Owls of Temple. Big Green Dartmouth. Lane three, Columbia Lions. Washington College, they are the Shoremen, that's Shore men. And finally the Jacksonville Dolphins. So we're just shy of 200 meters and looking like lanes 2, 3, 5, 4's right in it, and lanes 1 and 6 also. You know, everybody's overlapping at this point, 250 meters into this race. I think you've all probably figured it out by now. The racing, the stakes for the racing, the stakes for the placement in any of these semifinals, whether they're an A, B, C, D semifinal, are high. So the quality of the racing is really good. And once again, I'm really impressed with how, just watching the men and women out here, how much they really seem to enjoy just racing and going for it. So the crews are now getting quite close to 500 meters down. We've got Fred and Bob in perfect position as always.
We've got a pretty good bunching here, 500 meters in to the last semifinal of men's fours. It is Washington College with a slim lead over Columbia, and a few more inches behind Columbia, Jacksonville. Just behind Jacksonville, we've got Dartmouth by a couple of seats over Temple, and Temple with half a length over Drexel. So Washington College in the lead, but just barely. Can they now draw level with Washington College for the lead? It's then half a length back to Jacksonville, inches behind Jacksonville. We've got Dartmouth, another deck back to Temple, and then 2/3 of a length from Temple, Drexel. So crossing 750, it is Columbia and Washington College, just about level for the lead. They've pulled now to about 3/4 of a length in front of Jacksonville. Jacksonville with a deck now on Dartmouth. Temple closing in. They're about a seat and a half down to Dartmouth. And Drexel hanging in there. They're about 3/4. Well, the Washington, as we approach the 1,000-meter mark, crews are still just, they're challenging Jacksonville about 3/4 of a length. And Drexel now within a duking it out. It's Dartmouth of Jacksonville for third. 2/3 of a length fight there. Back. And then a half. Dartmouth. Back to Temple and a half length back to Drexel. Washington College beginning to nose away. Washington College now with 2 seats on Columbia. But once again, we're going to have a great fight with multiple boats looking for those 3 positions. It's now 4 seats for Washington College, with Columbia trying to hold off Jacksonville and Dartmouth.
Dandy race shaping up here with Washington College, Chestertown, Maryland, holding the lead. Columbia making it tough on them, though. And once again, there are 4 crews battling it out. Dartmouth, Jacksonville, Columbia, and Washington College. That's reverse order, but they're all 4 crews fighting for those 3 spots in the third level final. The remaining crews, of course, will row in the 4th level final tomorrow. Bringing it down into the last, 300 meters, 250. Washington College still leading. Well, isn't that wonderful to have Washington College here from Chestertown competing in the IRA? Columbia trying to push their point there. No one's safe yet. We've got a ways to go, and both these other crews could pull into it. This is the closest race that we've had. We've had some dandy finishes, but we've got almost everyone involved in this one, with the possible exception of Drexel. Here we go, winding them up, bringing them home. Those of you that hit the finish line are another treat here. Really, really close racing. Here we go. Washington College still leading. Columbia being challenged by Dartmouth. Oh boy, here we go. And on the inside, here they're coming to stroll. Man, we got a dynamite race. It's Washington College now. Columbia now. Way over on the inside. Jacksonville. Then Dartmouth. Wow, another wonderful finish. Temple across the line, and Drexel. Boy, these last few forward races have been incredible. A real treat, I'm sure, to most of you that are watching on our live stream as well as live here at the Regatta site.
A few minutes. We've got the Stags from Fairfield University in lane 1. We've got the Stars from Oklahoma City University in lane 2. We have the Loyola Greyhounds of Maryland in lane 3. And we have the Santa Clara Broncos in lane 4. So there's a lot of reasons for being out here racing, and a lot of times people forget about the crews that are in these higher numbered or further in the alphabet lettered finals. But if it wasn't for these people, we wouldn't have the finals in the other levels. So there's, as I say, a lot of reasons for being here, and this is a great opportunity for these 4 crews as they line up and wait for the final pole. I've discovered that there's now something known as the starting platform tan. It's a little different than farmer's tan. Basically, the side that's facing the sun is getting extremely good sun, whether that's your neck or your arm, and the other side of your body is getting nothing. So you've got a nice line right down your spine on the sun side that's tanning or burning quite nicely, and the other side is staying quite white. So it's starting platform tan right now. And we are underway. The crew that you can see most easily to the left is Santa Clara. That's lane 4. Loyola coming into view as well with the green blades in lane 3. Oklahoma City, lane 2 with the blue. And Fairfield in red. This is nice. Such different coloring on the blades and the jerseys. It's a lot easier to figure out who's who. So the camera's going to swing. We're going to see as we get to about 200 meters, lane 4, Loyola looks to have the early lead, followed quite closely by Santa Clara, and Fairfield and Oklahoma are right on there as well. So once again, this is their final. This will complete their day. This will give them the opportunity to start de-rigging their boats at the end of this race. Whereas everyone else, mostly everyone else, will be racing again tomorrow on Sunday. So they're now 300 meters in. Positioning looks similar. You can probably see the rates look a little bit lower as they stride out. Just like a sprinter leaving the blocks on a longer race, they're going to try to get into their rhythm. And at this point, Bob and Fred will bring them home to the finish line or close to the finish line right now.
So 500 meters into this level 5 final, it is Loyola and Santa Clara just about level crossing 500, half a length ahead of Oklahoma City, and Oklahoma City has 1 seat on Fairfield. So the two leaders pretty much within a couple of feet of one another, jousting back and forth. That's Santa Clara and Loyola. Looks like Santa Clara is at 37. Loyola just a tiny bit under them at 36. Those two still have 1/2 of a length over Oklahoma City, who now has about 1/3 of a length over Fairfield. So crossing 750, we've still got two level boats in the lead, Santa Clara and Loyola. We still have 1/2 a length back to Oklahoma City, and then 1/2 a length back to Fairfield. And at this point, Santa Clara is putting on a little bit of a push. They've eased in front. They've gone up to 38, and they've just barely gotten their nose in front of Loyola. It's about 1 seat now. Santa Clara over Loyola. A little bit of a push from Oklahoma City has them within 3 seats of Loyola. And Fairfield still hanging around, 1/2 a length behind Oklahoma City. So as we approach the 1,000, all 4 of these crews are within striking distance of one another. And crossing the 1,000, it is Santa Clara with 2 seats over Loyola. Loyola with 4 seats over Oklahoma City. Oklahoma City with 3 seats over Fairfield. So nobody's backing away from this. They're all throwing their last strokes of the year in. Santa Clara at 37.5 now has a deck length lead over Loyola. Loyola now under some pressure. Oklahoma City drawing up to within a deck of Loyola. And Fairfield still 1/2 a length behind Oklahoma City.
Not going away.
So we've got 800 meters to go, and it's 1/2 a length now, maybe a tiny bit more for Santa Clara over Loyola. Loyola still with the deck on Oklahoma City, and it looks like we may have a little move here from Fairfield drawing up. They are now within a deck of Oklahoma City. A burst from Santa Clara gives them a little more breathing room. Santa Clara now almost a length on Loyola. Loyola better be looking to their port side because Oklahoma City's moving up quickly. It's now about 1.5 seats. Loyola over Oklahoma City. And then 2/3 of a length back to Fairfield. As we approach the 500 meters, for the first time, we've got 1 length. Santa Clara in the lead. Loyola still hanging on to second, but that doesn't look like it's going to last much longer. It's now about 1 foot back to Oklahoma City, who's charging, and now they're level. Don't count out Fairfield from that mix either. They're still only 1/2 a length back from Oklahoma City and Loyola. So at 400 to go, Santa Clara has a few feet of open water. Loyola level with Oklahoma City, 1/2 a length to Fairfield.
All right. Santa Clara coming home with just a length, maybe a little open water. Side by side between Loyola and Oklahoma City, and Fairfield mounting a challenge too. Nobody wants to be last, that's for sure. They're all coming home. Last race of the year. This is a final. This is places 25, 26, 27, and 28 in the men's varsity 4. Santa Clara still holding the lead, and all 3 other crews mounting a challenge. Last 400 meters or so here. Santa Clara still in the lead. Fairfield may be falling back just a little bit. No, they're moving too. They're all moving up. That's great. Wonderful finish here for this last race. Santa Clara in the lead. Loyola of Maryland has fallen off the pace just a little bit. All the rest of them are in the hunt. Here it is, Santa Clara. Oklahoma City. This race between Loyola and Fairfield is going to be really close, and Loyola is just going to nip them right there at the line, a foot apart. Santa Clara, Fairfield in an incredibly close finish for those last two spots.
So we're at race 20, and it's about to begin. We are repechage 1. I believe it's the only repechage for the women's varsity lightweight 8. So we began the morning program with these pretty impressive lightweight women in 8s, 4s, and doubles, and we're going to end the morning program with the same thing. So right now we've got Georgetown in lane 2, not quite in view. Lane 3 is Princeton, just starting to come into view right now, and then MIT out there in lane 4. The top two crews are going to join the 4 crews that are already in the final from this morning's racing. So this is really critical. These crews are trying to be either first or second. That's the goal. And it looks like Princeton right now has the early lead, and they are being closely pursued by MIT. Georgetown, about 8 seats back or so. So they've got clearly has got some work to do. So they're past 250, as you all can see. And now striding out. Once again, see who can make that shift to a lower rate. See if they can find a good rhythm. Kind of get their breathing, their heart rate settled down just a little bit, not too much. And be efficient. Let's see if we can get those blades just to drop right in the water as they come forward. Again, as they go to that lower rate, not a great way to get the rate down, to hold the blades at the catch position before they go in the water. If they can figure out how to just slow those slides down, and it appears that they're doing that quite nicely. MIT, those blades are dropping in real well. Princeton doing the same thing, and Georgetown. So it appears they've gotten into their rhythms as they pass 500 meters. Once again, first and second are going on. They've got a race tomorrow, and third place crew might not be racing tomorrow.
600 meters into the repechage for the lightweight women's 8. 2 lanes still available for the final, and it looks like MIT really wants one. They rode 40 for most of the first 500, and they've gone down to 38 with a third of a length lead over Princeton. Princeton's been pretty high as well. They've been rowing 38-39. They're now down to 36 and a half, and they've got just about a length over Georgetown. Princeton pressuring MIT now. Princeton pulling back. So at 750, that's about a half a length. Princeton behind MIT. And that's given them a little bit of open water over Georgetown. So right now, it's MIT rowing 39 still. Half a length lead over Princeton. Princeton's at 37. Princeton has about 10 feet of open water over Georgetown. Georgetown rowing 38. So that little move by Princeton has jolted the engineers back to life. They're taking a move of their own. That half a length lead has quickly grown to nearly 3/4 of a length as we approach 1,000 with MIT just about second, has about a third of a length of open water over the Hoyas. So MIT's lengthened out a bit. They're down to 36 and a half. Still 3/4 of a length on Princeton. Maybe a shade more. Princeton at 36 and a half as well. The stroke of the MIT boat is now on the bow ball of Princeton, and it looks like the engineers are throwing in another little spurt. Yep. They were up to 38.5, 39 for a bit there. Trying to lock in their position now with 750 meters to go. So the Princeton stroke, the MIT stroke on the Princeton bow ball, and Princeton about half a length of open ahead of Georgetown, as two of these three crews will advance to tomorrow's final. MIT begins to move again. It's now the coxswain up to the Princeton bow ball. There's about 650 meters to go. So while Princeton may appear to be safe in second place, as they now have about 2 lengths on Georgetown, they are not letting MIT go easily. They're going to fight them all the way to the line.
All right. Lightweight women's eights. MIT leading. Princeton, second place with overlap. Georgetown trailing by open water to those two crews. And it's 2 to advance. These last 2 crews will make that second boat grand final. MIT leading pretty comfortably. Princeton, a little overlap. Georgetown trailing by open water. Last 300 meters. Going to get spread out here. Nobody looks like they want to take it up and go for it. They're all just bringing it home at base rate. Making it interesting here between Princeton and MIT. Clearly Princeton has moved up a bit. They're both going for the same thing, that is the last 2 slots in the lightweight women's grand final. Princeton wants to crank it up a little. Now MIT is answering. So we're going to have ourselves a little boat race here down to the finish line for bragging rights on this first place. And it is MIT. MIT, half a length plus on Princeton, and they're both going to go for it here. That's all right. Bring it home. MIT's pushing up just a little bit more. Maybe we're talking 3/4 of a length, almost a length, over Princeton. Georgetown trailing. Here's MIT. The engineers bringing it home. A full length, maybe a crack or 2 of open water here. Yeah, almost a deck of open. MIT. Princeton go forward to the final. Georgetown's bringing in last few strokes of the year for this crew. And Georgetown now. MIT and Princeton will move forward to the grand final tomorrow.
Doubles.
We're up here at the start. Seems to be a consistent pattern. And we have race 21. Due to start in probably about a minute. This is repechage 1 of the women's varsity lightweight 4. We have 2 repechage. This being again the first one. The first and second place crew from this race will join Wisconsin and Stanford that have already qualified for the grand final. So we'll wait till the crews come into view. All 4 crews, we can see 3 of the 4 right now. The crew we're waiting for on this near side in lane 2 now appearing is Fordham. Lane 3, UMass. Lane 4 is Boston University. Appears maybe to have an early lead, although UMass and Boston University quite close. And then finally, lane 5, Princeton University. So here they come. As you can see, the conditions are ideal. And sure enough, I mean, yeah, you could say lane 4 by about a foot, and then UMass. So those 2 are off to the races, quite literally, at 250. And once again, 1 and 2 will advance. Certainly an advantage, as UMass and BU have already done. This could almost be a little bit like match racing. If they get a good enough lead on Fordham and Princeton, then they can pretty much control the race from the front and conserve energy. That would definitely be to their advantage, given the fact that Stanford and Wisconsin are already in. Over to you, Bob and Fred.
So 400 meters in now, the first repechage of the lightweight women's fours. UMass and Boston University are in the lead, very close to one another. As they cross 500, it might be Massachusetts by a seat. It's then one length back to Fordham, and Fordham has just about a length on Princeton. Why am I whispering? It's UMass by 2 seats now over Boston University. 2 of these crews will advance to the final tomorrow. There's now a little bit of open water back to third place Fordham, and Fordham with just about a length on Princeton. So Massachusetts and Boston University fighting it out. It's a 2-seat advantage, maybe a seat and a half to Massachusetts. So these 2 boats definitely going at each other really hard. And unfortunately for Fordham and Princeton, that has pulled them well clear. So right now at 7:50, it's University of Massachusetts by 3 seats over Boston University. And then open water back, we've got Fordham with Princeton trailing. University of Massachusetts, just about half a length now. UMass is rowing 33 and a half. Boston University rowing just a touch higher at 35. But Massachusetts just easing away. It's half a length, Massachusetts over Boston University as we approach the 1,000-meter mark. So crossing the 1,000 over Boston University. Those 2 right now, unless disaster strikes, will have the 2 positions to advance into the finals tomorrow. And then it's still Fordham in third, a few lengths back. Fordham leading Princeton. So as we just saw in the 8th race, the leaders aren't easing off. But the difference between first and second certainly seems to mean something to them. And it's still a half a length differential. University of Massachusetts leading Boston University. 800 meters to go. UMass may be extending the lead just a hair. It's not because BU is easing off. BU is still at 34. UMass at 35, so they may be easing away because they've nudged it up a beat or so. UMass drawing clear now. Nearly a length. At 34 and a half, University of Massachusetts draws to nearly a length ahead of Boston University. UMass at 35, BU at 36. Clear of Fordham and Princeton. Approaching 500. It's now a little bit more than a length for University of Massachusetts, leading Boston University.
University of Massachusetts leading this race, followed by BU. Open water back to Princeton and Fordham. There will be 2 to move forward to the grand final of the women's lightweight 4. So those positions are very, very important. UMass, open water, BU, also open water back to Princeton and Fordham. We'll see if that holds all the way through here. But so far, we're stretching out, and it looks the same.
The men's varsity fours are out.
BU,
Final.
UMass, BU. We are on the board. You might notice the men's varsity 4 fifth level final results, which go from the top. First place Santa Clara, second Oklahoma, third place Loyola of Maryland, and fourth place Fairfield. Now we'll go back to the race on the course. UMass still leading BU, 2 to qualify. Remains to be seen whether Princeton or Fordham or both of them can muster it up and close it down. But so far, we've held the same all through this race. UMass in the lead. Close race for a while with BU, but they pulled out to open water. We'll see if they can finish it up the same way. Yeah, well out. Last few strokes here. 2 to go forward to the final. And UMass is just striding here, nice and long, not taking that rate up. Here's BU, maybe a length and a half, 2 open behind. Same tempo. They don't need to sprint. They can be saving that for tomorrow. UMass across the line right now. BU, length and a half open back right now. And those are the 2 crews that will go forward. Fordham in third place right now. And Princeton still on the course, but they're running that rate up a little bit, and they're bringing it home. It'll be Princeton in fourth right now.
Repage number 2 of the women's varsity lightweight 4. Once again, first and second place will join their other women in the grand tomorrow, and the rest will make the petite. So we're going to go from lane 5, which is the lane furthest to the left that you may see. We've got MIT, lane 5. We've got Villanova Wildcats in lane 4. We have Radcliffe. And Radcliffe, I'm going to have to ask about your nickname. They are in lane 3. We have Tulsa, the Golden Hurricanes, in lane 2 with those bright red caps and uniform ponytails. And then finally in lane 1, we have the Hoyas of Georgetown. So coming through here, looking good for lane 3 Radcliffe and lane 2 Golden Hurricanes from Tulsa, as well as the Villanova Wildcats. So once again, those 3 crews right now are trying to kind of make a stamp on the field in terms of kind of controlling the race. But the fact that there's 3 crews and only 2 are going to advance is going to make this one a little bit more exciting. And that is not counting out those other 2 crews on the outside. But it certainly appears that Tulsa, Radcliffe, and Villanova have made a very early mark and have definitely gained some good distance in terms of open water on the other 2 crews that they can then start working against each other. I'm going to call it on Tulsa and Radcliffe right now, maybe just a little bit ahead of Villanova. But we've got a boat out there that's going to take it over at 500, so I will now turn it over.
Crossing 500 of the second repechage of the women's lightweight 4, it's Radcliffe narrowly ahead of Tulsa. We've then got Boston University, that's Villanova in third place, about 3/4 of a length behind. About a length and a half behind them, it's Georgetown with a little bit of a lead on MIT. So Tulsa narrowly behind Radcliffe and actually beginning to draw level. Tulsa drawing level with Radcliffe. That has put both of those crews now about 1 length ahead of Villanova, with 2 lanes remaining to claim in the finals. Radcliffe responds. Tulsa had gotten level, but now Radcliffe at about 700 meters has taken a move. They've moved from 1 seat, and now it's 2 seats, and now it's 3. Radcliffe motoring. Radcliffe rowing low. They're only at about 31. but they're now 4 seats ahead of Tulsa. Villanova mounting a charge as well. Villanova was a tiny bit of open water back, but they're now overlapping Tulsa. Villanova's at 35 and a half, and Tulsa's at 35 and a half. So Radcliffe has pulled about 2/3, half a length ahead of Tulsa. Villanova still closing on Tulsa. The Villanova bow ball is nearly up to the stroke of the Tulsa crew. Those 3 boats have cleared the Georgetown and MIT boats with open water. So it's these boats. Tulsa stopped that move from Villanova at 1,000, and they have moved slightly back on Radcliffe. It's Radcliffe by half a length over Tulsa, and Tulsa has reestablished its 1-length lead over Villanova. So Radcliffe still rowing 33 and a half, pretty much within themselves. It's Tulsa and Villanova behind them that have been pulsing down the course. Tulsa still in second. They're rowing 36. And they're now about 3/4 of a length behind Radcliffe. The Villanova boat is taking another push. That's a closed length again. Villanova's at 35. So it's 750 meters to go. It's Radcliffe now, nearly 1 length in front of Tulsa. Tulsa just about a length in front of Villanova. And then some distance back to Georgetown and MIT. So Radcliffe's been rowing long and low. They're still at 33 and a half. They've let the other boats go up and down, push back and forth, and they've maintained this lead most of the way. Tulsa has gone up again, it looks like. They're at 37. The question here is whether Tulsa will hold off Villanova for that second finals position. And that little burst from Tulsa has gotten them open water now over Villanova. So with 500 meters to go, it is Radcliffe just about a length ahead of Tulsa. Tulsa with 1.25 lengths on Villanova. Georgetown and MIT.
And we're picking it up in the last 500 here with Radcliffe. Little open water. Tulsa trying to hold them off there. Villanova trying to make a charge into Tulsa. Tulsa's come a long way to row this race, so I'm sure they want that second qualifying spot. This is 2 to advance to the grand final. Radcliffe still holding. Tulsa in second. Villanova is the one that if they can go now and spin that rate up, they might have a chance at that second qualifying slot. When they pulled up close to Tulsa the last time, Tulsa was able to raise the rate just a little bit and hold them back. Now Tulsa's been overstroking Radcliffe all the way out. Radcliffe's been 32.5 to 33.5. Tulsa up to 36, 36.5. So we'll see if that being the case, that Villanova can muster up a sprint and pull back up into this. Here we go. Radcliffe still leading. Last 15 or 20 strokes here. Here we go. This could get dicey toward the end here for that second slot. It's Radcliffe. Tulsa on the outside. Looks like this is going to be okay for these two crews. Yes. Radcliffe holding Tulsa off by, half a boat of open water. And it's Radcliffe crossing the line for that first qualifying spot right now. Tulsa out about the same amount of open water now, and then Villanova in third place now.
and enjoying once again the great morning of racing. We are coming to its conclusion now with the final repechage of the women's lightweight double. Lane 2 we have Loyola, Lane 3 Radcliffe, Lane 4 Princeton, and Lane 5 Oklahoma. 2 crews, first and second place from this final repechage, will join Tulsa, Wisconsin, Boston University, and Stanford, who have already qualified. I'm going to apologize because in all the confusion this morning about having some sound issues, we never introduced ourselves. Maybe I should just keep it that way. But right here in this start tower platform, the able filming of Paul Wilkins, who coached at GW and is now on the West Coast with USC. And dare I say my name, but Peter Wells of Williams College. And it's been a pleasure to do this morning, and if the regatta committee feels like we did all right, we might just be back tomorrow. What we do know is there will definitely be racing tomorrow, regardless of who's announcing. So that's a good thing. So the crews are lined up. Once again, this is double sculls. So once again, smaller boats, smaller oars, one in each hand. You've heard it before. Here we go.
Attention. Go.
Princeton's off to a much higher rate than Oklahoma next door. You can see how much quicker their blades are finding the water. But boy, Radcliffe really rowing sharply there, very nicely, sitting up quite tall. Very lively stroke in and out of the water. That looks quite good. Boy, the conditions, as you can see, have been remarkable, which we all always appreciate because you never know what's going to happen when you're outdoors. So once again, that's been really helpful for everybody. So yeah, here you can see Radcliffe definitely in control of this race. Princeton as well. These crews once again can really control things from the front over Lane 2, Loyola, and Oklahoma if they so choose, because that way they will not have to expend so much of their energy. The reporting boat is at 500, which means you're stuck with me for a little bit longer. Well, things could be worse than that, I suspect. But I do hope if you see anybody with an umbrella in their hands that you thank them. And if you see anybody with a rain suit still on, then I would encourage you to at least offer to buy them a cold drink. Because they clearly have been part of the reason for this exceptionally good weather.
Well, about 300 meters into the repechage for the lightweight women's doubles, Radcliffe put themselves right up front. They've been sculling at 33. They have a little bit of open water lead over Princeton. Now as they're crossing 500, it is Radcliffe by about 5 feet of open water over Princeton. Princeton has a couple of lengths over Oklahoma City and Loyola. So Radcliffe pulling away. They've really varied little since very shortly after the start. 32 and a half, 33, and they've now got about a length and a half on Princeton. Princeton at 33 has about a 2.5 length lead over Oklahoma City, who has about a length lead over Loyola. So the Radcliffe boat, very distinctive with the fluorescent socks on the stroke. We've got bright neon green, pumping up and down 33 times a minute as they cross 750 with about a 2-length lead over Princeton. It's Princeton now with a solid lead over Oklahoma City. In turn, Oklahoma City has a solid lead over Loyola. So Radcliffe still at 33, still well in control of both their hull and the race. Princeton has dropped it down to about 31. They may be feeling like they're pretty safe in this position as they have about 3 lengths on Oklahoma City. So a nice solid row by Radcliffe approaching the 1,000 with 2 lanes open in tomorrow's final. It's Radcliffe crossing the 1,000 in first place. They're still at 33 and a half strokes per minute, as they have been almost the entire distance. It's Princeton crossing, still in second place. They're now about 3 lengths behind Radcliffe and about 3.5 lengths ahead of Oklahoma City. Princeton at 32. No need to overextend themselves at this point. Oklahoma City rowing 31 and a half in third place with a pretty good lead over Loyola. Loyola rowing 29 and a half.
Hoping for these conditions tomorrow.
Yeah. So at about 750 to go, we've got all these boats pretty much established in position. It's beautiful out on the lake right now. We're hoping for these conditions tomorrow, because right now it's pretty perfect for these doubles. So Princeton crosses, 750 to go. Oklahoma City approaching 750 to go. They're through. So 32 strokes a minute. Radcliffe well in advance of Princeton. Princeton has gone down to about 30 strokes a minute. Still well in advance of Oklahoma City. Oklahoma City at about 30 and a half. Leading Loyola. Loyola at about 29. 500 meters to go for Radcliffe. They'll be locking up one of those lanes in tomorrow's final. It's 500 meters to go now for Princeton. They've pretty much locked down that last lane available in tomorrow's final. Oklahoma City crosses 500. And the Loyola crew crosses 500. So if you're down at the finish line, final race of the day, watch them come across. Radcliffe leading Princeton, Oklahoma City third, and Loyola in fourth.
All right, we're bringing them home here. Radcliffe, Princeton. Radcliffe's held first place all the way out. Princeton's held second place. And they're the 2 qualifiers, or should be, as long as they hold serve all the way in here. Then Oklahoma City, and then Loyola. Women's lightweight double. First 2 into the grand final. Bit of a parade here right now. Radcliffe well out in front. Just bringing it home. Maybe they'll run it up a little bit for the fans here at the finish line. Way clear of Princeton. Equally clear. These are the 2 crews that will row in the final tomorrow. Lightweight women's double. Radcliffe across the line. Now. And Princeton crossing the line now. Oklahoma City and Loyola still on the course. Oklahoma City coming in here in third. They'll be rowing in the petite finale. Right now for third place, and Loyola coming across, Just a few more strokes, and they will join Oklahoma City in the petite finale. Loyola crossing the line now. A reminder to all of you here in the finish line area, as well as our broadcast group, tomorrow morning, a revised schedule. 7 a.m. first race. Boy, I know that's getting up early, but you're going to be treated to some amazingly fast racing. Probably the fastest age group 19 to 21, 22-year-old competition in the entire world. And some of those races are going to be right off the get-go in the morning. So make that coffee pretty strong and get up and join us. We will see you tomorrow morning, 0700.